702 Finance Feature.
Welcome back. This is a 702 Afternoons, and it's time for the Finance Feature. Now, this Finance Feature is brought to you by Stanlib Asset Management. Invest in more. And today we're speaking about South Africans and car debt. You know, it's an important conversation because, quite frankly, I think too many of us struggle with car debt. And recent data is really telling when it comes to debt. Now, according to the latest data, the average South African with vehicle finance still owes around 249,000 Rand on their car. And collectively, motorists are carrying over 541 billion Rand in vehicle debt. That's across 2.17 million vehicle finance accounts. And I suppose that speaks to just how South Africans are doing when it comes to debt and their vehicles. For more on that conversation, we're speaking to Wynand van Vuuren, who's a client experience partner at King Price Insurance. Wynand, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Khomotso.
I suppose the first question really is, why are we seeing more South Africans falling into debt because of car ownership? Because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I see. So what we've seen is, I think the biggest problem is that people don't take everything into account. You know, that comes, all the expenses that comes with a car. And, then later when you find out, you realize that you've over budgeted with, the new car that you bought. And then that's when people are caught out, that they can't afford the vehicle anymore.
So I suppose some of the biggest mistakes that people make is what they don't consider petrol, they don't consider maintenance. Is that really what it's about?
Yeah, so you can't just think that you've got 10,000 Rand a month or 5,000 Rand a month for that vehicle, and now go and search for those that you like, and then pick the one where the installment is going to come to that budget of yours of 10,000 Rand, for example. Yeah. Because what comes thereafter is the insurance. One cannot afford, even if you buy a cheaper car, which you think maybe, listen, if the car is damaged, I'll repair it myself. I'm not going to get insurance on it. You always got that legal liability exposure, for damage that you can do to someone else's car, to the state's property or so. People don't always understand that. So what I always advise is, go and look at your budget, but then include in your budget what that full comprehensive insurance is going to be. Then that premium, that monthly premium. Then that you can afford that. And to take the fuel price, we are seeing now, with what's going on with the war and so, the oil price going up. Yeah. There's a very big increase coming now in 3 weeks' time on the petrol price. It looks like diesel is going to go up with over 5 Rand per litre. So will you still then? That's going to be 25% more or less on the diesel price now. So can you still afford that then? If you with your normal monthly travel. So take that fuel into consideration. Take your maintenance on the vehicle, your tires. That's going to have to be replaced more or less here in 30,000 kilometers. Take all of that into account and then do your budget. And I then say, listen, then still go and only spend 60% of the budget. Yeah. Because that if something happens and you're in an accident, can you afford that excess, on the repairs that you're always going to have to pay? Yeah. So people don't take all of that into account and then find themselves. And that's why the debt busters and the debt counseling companies are currently concerned and say, listen, they see people, many that are completely over budgeted on the vehicles.
And how much of the problem is actually around the financial requirements? You'll often hear people saying, it's so much easier to qualify for a car than a house, for example. And someone can be earning, for example, 10,000 Rand and still qualify for a vehicle that costs them, 5 or 6,000 Rand in terms of installment. So how much of the problem is it around financial requirements and the fact that people get approved for cars that they essentially can't afford?
I think that's a big part. There is regulation on it, but the finance houses and so, one must always be careful. That someone gives his full picture and that the advice that you give, before you give a finance like that is actually taken into account. I see so many people that's got the insurance in place, but what happens now is when the vehicle is stolen or written off, there's that shortfall. So your insurance cover the car for the retail value, but with your finance company, you still owe another 20 or 30,000 rand on top of the value of the vehicle. So they actually, that's another problem. Now, your vehicle is written off or stolen, your insurance company is going to pay the full retail value, like in Price Do. We pay the full retail value out. But you have to advise as well, but people don't understand that there can be a financial shortfall, which you can also insure. That 30 or 40,000 rand, that will still be a shortfall at the bank. Make sure that is included in your insurance, that your insurance company is going to pay that as well. And then, you'll be able to afford a new car. So, those are those little things that people don't always understand, and which I think we should educate and make sure, that everyone knows about it, that you go into that budget, make sure that you rather go for 60% of what you think you have and have it ready. Something else that we see is that most insurance policies require your vehicle to always be in a roadworthy condition. So now what we see, especially in these fuel increases and when people can't afford their vehicles anymore, that they don't follow the maintenance intervals. There's a delay in the vehicle maintenance. Now it's a requirement in every insurance policy that your vehicle must be in a roadworthy condition. Now your tires are not in a roadworthy condition anymore. You can find yourself in an accident where that those wheels contributed to the accident, or it could have been avoided if you had it right. And then there's going to be problems when you have to claim. I suggest, in times like this, when the fuel price is going up, if you're under pressure, don't go and cancel your insurance policy. Rather phone your insurer and say, listen, what is the alternative that I have? I'm going to be in need of cash for a few months. What cheaper options are there that you can maybe still have your third-party cover in place, that you can still have if the vehicle is financed, it must always be comprehensive. So there you also have to speak to the finance house. But there might be alternatives that you can rather go and make sure that you can save some money.
Yeah. Wynand, when I bought my first car, a piece of advice that I was given was, don't get a balloon payment. I was told, don't do it. And I was told that if you need a balloon payment, that means you can't afford the car. So just wait. How much of that is also a contributing factor? Where people really, when you can't afford the car, then you opt for what seems like an easier option in getting the balloon payment, but you don't really think about the end result.
Yeah, so you see, the thing is, you're in need of sound financial advice. Because how nice is it going to be, if you've paid your vehicle now for 50 or 60 months, and then thereafter it becomes yours, and you've at least paid for a car that's paid off now. You've got that extra money with those balloon payments, and so you never get to a point, where the car is now yours. So I'll never recommend that. I agree with you. I feel if you have to go in that direction, then you can't afford the vehicle. So, and then there's alternatives. Why not buying a new vehicle? We've just listened before. I came up, of there's We Buy Cars that you can go to and find, reliable second-hand vehicles. There's other second-hand vehicle dealerships. That and buying a second-hand vehicle has got its own challenges again. They always say, and I should quickly mention it, you can take it to a roadworthy center that can go through the car and see that everything is 100% before you buy it. You don't only have to take the dealer's a word for it. There's a motor ombudsman that can assist if there's problems, in the first few months, and you realize that you've been sold a dud. But there's alternatives. Don't go and buy such expensive vehicles. And now in these times where we see the fuel price increases, we don't know what's going to happen. I'll also go for something that's going to be light. If you can afford a hybrid or electric vehicle, that's starting to look a lot more affordable, and maybe over the long run more affordable fuel-wise, definitely fuel-wise. But there's alternatives, and one should consider all of those options, before you take the decision just to go and buy a expensive new car that's going to cost you a lot of money later.
Yeah. Someone here saying, potholes made me sell my car. I was told tire replacements take place every 4 years. I've been replacing tires every quarter. That's 10,000 Rand on tires every quarter. How absurd. And this is a reality that many of us who are living in Joburg in particular must be considering. Now we're factoring in the tires quite a bit.
Yeah, and the thing is, people are uninformed. Again, like at King Price also, we have a product where you can insure your tires and your rims, and you have to have it in place with these roads of ours. So then it's a small excess that you pay, and the insurance replace your tire if you went through a pothole now, and also the damage to your rim. Then you got it in cover. Because otherwise, if you've got a 4,500 or a 5,000 Rand excess on your insurance, under the normal comprehensive insurance, then that damage to your tire might only be 2,000 Rand. So then, the damage falls within the excess, and you're going to have to pay it yourself. But with this tire and rim cover, you again have a small excess, a few hundred Rand that you're out of pocket, but the insurance repair your rim and your tire. So people must go and find out, what products are out there like that, where it's going to cost you a few Rand a month, but you've got that cover in place, and you won't find yourself with a car, without a wheel, and you can't use it anymore.
All right, we're speaking about vehicles and why it feels like car ownership is pushing South Africans further and further into debt. Let's take some voice notes.
Hi, Hamato. Interesting topic on this car finance story. I'm a rep, so I'm always on the road. I want to know from your guest, is it advisable for me to get a balloon payment, because I do so much mileage? So every 3 years, I'll probably get a new car. So is it okay if I get a balloon payment, because I'm not going to fully pay off the car? I hope that makes sense. This is Buleng in the bar. Thank you.
Okay, Vaynant, there's an example, but I suppose Buleng's situation is very specific. It's a little different. She travels a whole lot, and she's going to be changing her car really regularly. Should she get a balloon payment?
Well, I never recommend that. I say so. It's something different if it's if the vehicle is in a business, and you've got benefit on through the business and the finance there. But otherwise, I say I won't recommend that. But rather, it's much better. Pay for it for the 5 years, and it's yours, and you can trade that whole vehicle in on the new one. Will at the end of the day, be a lot better for you. But if you use it like that and you don't feel that like the balloon payment at the end of the time, if you have to settle another 20 or 30 or a 50,000 Rand at the end of the finance period, and you can afford that, then you can go for that option if it's going to make your monthly budget now easier. But I say that should be last option.
And I suppose the thing about it is you really don't know what your financial position will be 4 or 5 years later. There's no real way of telling if you'll be able to pay that amount, right?
Yeah, and that's why I say, it's, for me, rather go for, something a little bit cheaper, or that's going to be a little bit more economical, in a monthly period. And then that you don't have to pay that balloon, and the vehicle will be yours at the end of that period.
Vaynant, for listeners who are thinking of buying a car right now, what are the key financial checks that they should be doing and considering before signing that finance agreement?
Well, so if you buy new, it's a lot easier. It comes with, no pressure in the first maybe 100,000 kilometers on your service intervals and so on. And that you buy a product that is in perfect condition. For me, that's a lot easier buy if you consider everything that comes, all the other costs and fuel costs and consumption. And you can afford it. It's going to be an easy buy. If you go and you buy second-hand, a lot more things that you have to check. Make sure it's a reputable dealer. Go and read up on what other people said, that dealt with that specific dealer in the past. Make sure that you get a very clever eye on that vehicle that can see if it's been in accidents before. You can also contact the manufacturer to find out, do you have any information that parts have been ordered for this car before? The different manufacturers can give you that information, and take it in any event.
Yeah.
Take it to a test station that can go through the vehicle for you and say, listen, we can see previous accident damage here that wasn't properly repaired.
Yeah.
It's a risk to buy this vehicle. Go through all of those things if you buy secondhand. Make sure that the car that you buy is affordable and in a very good condition, and you're going to have peace of heart. And then get the proper comprehensive cover on your vehicle. Make sure you can afford that insurance, that you pay that first every month to know, because you can't pay your insurance if you've fallen behind a month or two, backwards. Retrospectively, you will not have cover for those months that you've missed. And I've seen it so many times. People pay religiously for a few months.
Yeah.
They skip a few months. Accident happened when your car's stolen, and then the insurer is not liable to settle that claim. And then, you sit with that debt for another 5 years or how long it's remaining, and you don't have a car.
All right. That's Wynand van Vuuren. He's a client experience partner at King Price Insurance. Thank you so much for your time.